Hello everyone, and this is Nammerdan once again, giving you an episode of the D-Rank Warriors. Today we'll be doing Dragon, as last time we were doing Dark and there was only one D-Rank in Obstagoon. So this week we have 3 D-Ranks with Dracozolt, Kyurem, and Haxorus. So we'll be going through them in order, as you can see here, and we'll be starting with Dracozolt. So let's take a look at what that mod is like. So, a few sets I have for Dracozolt are the Choice Band set, which is the most common set on Dragon. It hits really hard, especially against unsuspecting walls. It has Outrage, which can also be switched out for Dragon Claw in case you don't want to get locked into a move. It's very useful, especially if you don't want to get like blocked versus if you want to just like KO a dragon that's like weak to something. You don't have to like lock into the move and then get hit by the fairy type right after. So like a good example is Dark. Say Hydreigon is paralyzed for whatever reason, and you can finally like revenge kill it with Dracozolt. Uh, Instead of having to outrage, obviously, you could just use Dragon Claw, and you wouldn't get locked into the move. And if they end up sacking him, good on you. You got rid of him, and then you can switch out to another person when Grimmsnarl comes in. So that's an example of like why Dragon Claw is good. Earthquake and Fire Fang are good coverage moves, very useful in most MUs. Fire Fang, especially in the Steel MU, because nothing really comes in on this. So yeah, and it uses Hustle instead of Volt Absorb and Sand Rush because obviously it does a lot of power, although you have to worry about Hustle occasionally missing time to time, and it's just very not good. But yeah, this set actually has quite a bit of defensive utility because Electric Dragon is actually a pretty nice defensive typing, especially for Dragon. Sure, it is weak to Earthquake, but against most other things, it's actually pretty good defensively, so it can usually get a hit off. But it's not. This Pokemon isn't exactly the best, especially on Dragon, because there's so many other Pokemon that just outclass it at what it does. Especially the Choice Man set, like Dracovish is obviously like the first thing you might think of when it comes to getting outclassed, and then you also have Pokemon like you got Hydreigon, not as a physical attacker, but just as an attacker in general. Got Dragapult, and you got Kyurem Black, which is obviously a big problem. But yeah, Dracozolt is just outclassed by a lot of other Pokemon, on Dragon at least. And Dracozolt can also run Choice Scarf. This is more common on Electric, but it works on Dragon as well. Basically, it does the same thing Dracovish does, which is just outspeed stuff and just hit really, really hard with Bolt Beak. And it's technically stronger than Dracovish because of his 100 base attack, while Dracovish has base 100, base 90 attack instead of base 100. And with the Hustle boost, that technically means his Bolt Beak hits harder than Dracovish's Vicious Rend. However, you do have to worry about it missing, and that's kind of the trade-off with this Pokemon. So, fortunately, it's not that great. And also, Bolt Beak actually gets resisted by ground types, so you couldn't have a switch in against it. Also, there's a double Dragon Stab here. You don't need to have Outrage, you can also have Earthquake if you wish. You're not forced to run that much. As long as you have Fire Fang and Bolt Beak and a Dragon Stab move, you're pretty much good to go. But yeah, those are all the sets Dracozolt can run. I have seen some people decide to run Blunder Policy on this thing. And I mean, Blunder Policy is nice and all, but like, I wouldn't personally use it because first of all, you're basically asking to miss, and you don't really want to miss in theory, because even though in theory, when you miss, it's just like, oh, I missed, oh well now I'm +2. You still hit relatively decently thanks to Hustle, but you still want to like not miss like in a game because if you're trying to like play the game and you're relying on this thing to actually kill something, then you don't want it to miss. So that's why I kind of feel like this set is flawed, but yeah, you can just run this with the standard coverage moves, Bolt Beak, Claw, Earthquake and Fire Fang. You can just run it like this, and then max attack, max speed with a Jolly Nature. You can run this, but I personally wouldn't. But yeah, let's go on to the team and talk about how I fit Dracozolt on it. So here's the team I have. So we're using a choice band set because, as I said, I feel like it's the most useful set and it's the most common set on Dragon because of its relatively nice defensive typing and its ability to just break open walls really easily. Then we have this Pokemon for the Fairy MU, which is almost needed, I would feel, but it's not super necessary. And also he's Choice Scarf, so that way he can outspeed Gardevoir and we don't get swept by that Pokemon. We got Dragobolt, and this set isn't particularly good, but I ended up having to run it because I was just running out of things to run on this Pokemon. Specs wasn't really doing it for me, and it was just a really bad time trying to get this thing to work. But yeah, this is what I ended up running, as you'll see in the replays. And then I have this set for Como, which is pretty straightforward, standard lead set, nothing really special about it. Then we got Choice Scarf, Hydreigon, and Heavy Duty Boots, Kieran Black. So yeah, we'll start going on to some of the replays. Uh, so first replay we got here is versus Electric, which is obviously a pretty good matchup. But yeah, doing this just while the battle's going on, because there's nothing I can really commentate about it. It's just literally Dragon just doing Dragon things. But like doing this was like really hard because like I had my Namornate sucks all the way up to like 1500s, like 1560 I believe, and then it tanked all the way to 1329 just because I was trying to get footage for this video, and it was disheartening. I mean, that's not to say Dracozolt is like super bad, but I just feel like either I got really unlucky with bad MUs because I did get like a lot of like fairy when I was trying to do this, but like, oh yeah, I got a lot of fairy and ice while trying to record this episode, so it was really hard. I ended up dropping like a lot of points. But yeah, as you can see right there, I used Outrage to try and KO Rotom, and while it did KO him, if I had Declaw, I would have been able to switch out, even though it's a loss of power. Because now he's gone, and now he's dead. And now Dragonbolt does his thing. Oh yeah, and on this team, I was Screens previously, but Screens wasn't working out for me. And I also had Noivern on this team because I thought in theory I could do Tailwind plus Dracozolt and he would just be able to rip things apart, but that didn't work out in practice, so I just ended up not doing that. Also, unfortunately, Dracozolt didn't do much this match. So yeah. Here we have another match versus Fire. And yeah, this is just another one of those matchups where you kind of just win just by doing things. It's not really much I can commentate on, but yeah, I feel like this episode in particular was really hard because of the nature of Dracozolt, and I just feel like Dracovish is a lot better and a lot more consistent than Dracozolt is, even as a choice bander, I feel. So that's why I don't particularly feel keen about all the stuff going on with it. But yeah, as you can see, Dragapult's about to completely sweep his entire team because there's nothing he can do about Dragon Dance plus Dragon Darts for some reason on his team. But yeah, this just ends up sweeping him completely. Well, except for this. I think I end up switching out, yeah. Switch out, go into Duraludon just to dodge the Toxic. Then I double back into Dragapult expecting the Rapid Spin, and then he didn't come back. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, you can see like 1321. That was really bad for me. So these replays aren't even really that high up on the ladder. And then this is probably the last one I'll show you guys. This is versus Ghost, and I thought Ghost would be an easy MU at first, but like it's actually pretty difficult. Because even with Scarf Hydreigon, you don't really have a lot of things you can do against Ghost in general, because you have to worry about this thing being Dazzling Gleam and just completely OHKOing him and outspeeding him. And then you also have to worry about him like destroying like any of your other Pokemon, because all of them are weak to Dazzling Gleam. So that's really annoying. And Gengar's like so fast it's hard to outspeed, especially without Tailwind support. And I originally had Tailwind support, but then Noivern just stood there and didn't do anything in particular. So it would just end up giving stuff free turns, and it was just not good. But yeah, that's kind of the struggle I had with trying to get this team to work. It was very rough, and I honestly don't think it was all Dracozolt's fault, but I feel like it's because of just the way, like, how restricted you are with your typing. Because there aren't really a ton of options you have on Dragon to, like, make stuff work. Also, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Dracozolt is actually really bulky. He was able to take that play rough, no problem. But yeah, I personally don't really think that I like this set. I mean, this team. I had to do like a lot of like unviable ladder like changing stuff just to like get this team to work, and I feel like it could have gone better, but it is what it is. But yeah, Kyurem ends up doing work against the rest of this team. Dazzling Gleam does not kill him here, so that's why I'm not worried. And then I was worried about his Dracozolt outspeeding me, but then it just didn't, so that was great. And I won that battle, and that's the highest ranked battle I have, unfortunately. So yeah, that's what Dracozolt is capable of. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to like highlight Dracozolt that much, especially in these replays. There really aren't a ton of them in which I would say it did a particularly great job. I think in this replay he does something. Yeah, he OHKOs Weezing here, which, yeah, that's basically what I'm talking about when I say like Dracozolt's pretty dangerous, because he had like essentially no switch-ins if he hit. He literally had the Segamon there, and that's why I feel like Dracozolt is like really good. Fortunately, this guy ended up missing Sleep Powder and then forfeiting right after. So yeah. But yeah, I guess that's the best replay to display like how good Dracozolt is, because although I won't lie to you, Dracovish could have done the exact same thing just as well. It's just that Dracozolt has the electric stab, and obviously the electric stab is good because it hits a lot more things that Dragon would really like to hit, like flying types and water types especially. So that's why Volt Beak is pretty good. And yeah, in general, I think Dracozolt is decent, but it's just outclassed by so many other things on this type that I feel like it's just not worth the risk to use. So that's what the conclusion we can come to. It's usable, but it's not like if you're trying to be like serious with the team, unless you've got a real good gimmick you're running with Dracozolt, like the Blunder Policy set, I wouldn't say you should use this mod on your Dragon team, in my personal opinion, after using it for like over 20 games. So that will conclude today's episode of D-Rank Warriors. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe if you like, and come back for more. Have a good day, y'all.